That right there is a very cute dog.
That he is.
He's brave, too.
Why do you say that? Well, earlier today he was playing with that big scary neighborhood dog. Man, this thing was kicking the crap out of him. Knocked him down over and over and over again. Didn't matter. He just kept getting up. Oh, no, you got that one wrong. It's not actually because he's brave. It's just because he's too stupid to figure out when he's outmuscled, outmatched, outclassed. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Oh, that does make sense.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. That is not a dub. I almost said that as a dub. I got so excited about this game that I almost said it was a dub. See? Early season mistakes happen, such as the litany of errors that plagued the Bruins through the beginning of this game. But I feel amazing. This is kind of what I needed to see. It's an L. I get it. And we got to take that L wherever you prefer. But I kind of feel really good about it. Like, if this... How do I explain this properly? I talk on this channel. That's what I do. I need to figure out how to talk. When you go into a season like this and your expectations are really low, it's very bright. My God. Really low. And then you win a couple of games and you don't want to dive into the pool of high expectations. You don't want to leap into this. You beat a couple bad teams. You beat a team who's supposed to be like good, okay to good, but it was their home opener. You just don't want to dive in and get yourself hurt right away when the wheels fall off immediately and you go, all right, see, you're worried about process. You're worried about how the team is actually functioning. How are they different from last year? Which I know we've talked a lot about already. I keep bringing it up, but I'm going to keep bringing it up for a little while because this is largely the same team as last year. There's some new pieces and everything, but as far as where the offense is supposed to come from, it's very similar to what we had last year, particularly the last month and a half of the season, of course. Who's supposed to be defending? It's a healthier group. But again, same guys, same goaltenders. There's a lot about it that they need to separate themselves from the previous year, which was a 76-point team, man. We're bottom 5 in the league. You gotta separate yourself from that. And if there is one thing that this team has done so far, it's separate themselves from last year in a couple of ways, which I'm going to get into later, really. But I just got to say, I didn't love everything that happened in this game. I love this game. This game was not only super fun, but it told us a lot about where this team's head is. Has it finalized all the questions about where the real talent and the expectations levels and all that kind of stuff? No, I'm still very unsure of where this team's going to end up this year. I still have fairly low expectations. I'm still leaning into the underdog part of it all. But it did tell us a few things that we're going to get to later in the game notes. Let's touch on the Tampa Bay Lightning real quick. They started the season 0-2. This is their first win of the year. I can't imagine they're very worried about that. You know, how seasons just start highs and lows and whatnot. Johansson will start for them, and Girgensons is still out for them. Our lineups are once again the exact same. Geeky, Lindholm, Pasta, Zaka, Middlestat, Arvidsson, Janot, Mitten, Asimont, Huznadinov, Corrali, Kostelic, Lori, Mack, Harris, Peak, Zadorov, Jokiharju. Korpisalo is in net today. Hampus is still out with that lower body injury. I did find it interesting that they went with Korpisalo. It does feel like the team is going to be very intentional in trying to make sure that Swayman is not overworked. I didn't love the decision, but I thought Korpisalo was really good in this game. But let's talk about this really weird game, shall we? Puck drops! Puck drops! And immediately, we find out what kind of game this is going to be. And immediately, it becomes extremely interesting for all the reasons that we've been speaking about. 69 seconds in. Nice. McAvoy with a pretty lazy play as he's skating the puck out of our zone. Gensel comes up right behind him, rips the puck away. First of all, I'm really curious as to, because I can't hear on the ice, obviously, not always at least. I don't understand. Was no one screaming at him that he had a player coming up on his back, or did he just forget? I don't know. That's a little weird. Usually there's some communication about that. Gensel rips it away from him. He tips the puck over to Gonsalves. That name is spelt so differently than how it's pronounced, and I love it. I love this. Gonsalves is how they were pronouncing it. So he's going to skate down the left wall, back diagonal pass to Gensel once again. He is going to find Cirelli at the net front for an easy backdoor tap-in. Now, there's nothing Korpisalo can do about this whatsoever. What really bothers me about this is obviously I don't love McAvoy's initial kind of lazy play there, and he sprints back to try to cover, but Lorai also sprints back. And on the play where Gonsalves is going back diagonal to Gensel, he is trying to cover a pass that could potentially go straight to Cirelli in like when he's going to the net front. That pass doesn't go there. But instead of Lorai jumping up and covering Cirelli, he just kind of like spins and watches as the play finishes itself. And then he tries to get his stick down. He just doesn't anticipate the play at all. And that's something that I think one of the bigger issues Lorai has been having defensively, and this was not a stellar defensive game by him or McAvoy, but one of the issues Lorai really has is he doesn't have that I know where this play goes next regardless of what happens in front of me. He just doesn't have that instinct. He's not calculating the play quick enough. So he finds himself in these positions where he thinks he's doing something good and then turns around and goes, oh, this whole thing developed and I didn't catch on quick enough. One of those things that really bothered me. So it starts with McAvoy. It ends up being a Lorai mistake as well. And it's 1-0 for them. The reason this is so interesting is because you go down 1-0 immediately against a team that you know is supposed to be high-powered, at least offensively, but a team you're expecting to be good this year. Even if they started the season 0-2, we're expecting the Lightning to be good. Is the team going to fold right away? Are they going to have goal after goal after goal go in behind them? Are they going to have some fight? Are they going to be able to score just to get this back into this one? Like, where does the system start to crumble, right? At what point is Sturm's system and Sturm's motivation going to hit a real snag and we're going to see the team just fall apart like it did last year? We saw so many 8-1, 7-1, 6-1 finishes just because the first 5 minutes didn't go well and then it looked like the team just gave up. Was that going to happen again? And I was very scared that it was. 2:16 in, Lilleberg's going to go for hooking. So we're going to go to the power play, which is huge. It immediately puts a damper on the Lightning's momentum. We aren't able to do anything with it, and with about 31 seconds left, Arvidsson's going to cross-check Hedman. So we're going to have about 31 seconds of 4v4 and then a penalty kill, which we do kill off. About midway through the period, the Bruins have been sloppy throughout, particularly Lorai and Mac. They've been turning the puck over like it's their job. Minton and Asamont do put together a 2-on-1, but Johansson is there to make the save. The play should have been called dead anyway. I don't even know why I made a note about this. It is a 2-on-1, but I think I was just annoyed that the Lightning, before the turnover, clearly were offsides. Like, they brought the puck back and then over again, and then we stole it and went down the ice. If we scored there, I wouldn't have cared. But they missed so many icings and offsides during this game. It was weird. I didn't have a problem with too many of their penalty calls, but the actual system of the game felt off with what the refs were calling. 6:44 left. Zadorov with the puck in the left corner of the zone. I saw some people blaming Korpisalo, who gave him a pretty hard pass. He had this puck settled, though, and he still had time. And he just chucks it to Gensel above the right circle. I mean, this is just a blatant bad turnover. I don't know if he was looking too far ahead and didn't see him or what, but this was like peak Zadorov's driving us crazy bad turnover. So the play is going to continue. The play is going to get the puck down below the net. Gensel's going to get it again, this time from Gonsalves, and he is going to find Cirelli, who is right underneath that left circle. Korpisalo has the short side all steeled up, but far posted in, and it's 2-0. This isn't quite the wheels coming off and everything going to shit, right? It's 2 goals in a period. It doesn't look good, both from defensive turnovers and defensive lapses. But I'm kind of sitting there being like, okay, we're still here, though. This game's not out of hand yet. Can they get back? We do give up another breakaway. Chaffee shoots it wide, so we're going to move on to the second period. In the second period, 49 seconds in, Peak has a chance to clear the puck down the right wall, but decides to attempt to skate down the right wall, or up the right wall, I should say, past Harris and Yanni Gourde, who are battling in that inside circle point. Gourde is able to get enough of it, get a stick on it as he tries to skate by, enough to get it to the point where Mosier can skate down, punch it to the slot where Holmberg is. Harris now has to sprint over after Holmberg. Korpisalo, it goes with him to the side that Holmberg's skating towards. He sells this really well the whole way that he's going to shoot. And then at the last second, when he has Corpy all the way over on that left post and Harris on his back, he's going to do a little spinorama and dish it to Yanni Gourde, who's at the net front, wide open with a wide open net. And it's 3-0. We are 20 minutes, 49 seconds into this game. It is 3-0. If your expectations for the team were similar to mine, this game's over. The Bruins are not going to find it easy to score, and they're not going to find it easy to create offense against good teams. This game was over. And this is where I got really scared of, okay, but are they going to just collapse? Is this going to get really bad? It's already kind of bad, but is this just going to be an avalanche? And then 69 seconds in, so 20 seconds later, nice. This is just a regular breakout. Zacha, through the middle, over the blue line, dishes to the right where Arvidsson is. Arvidsson's going to dish it right back to the left with Middlestat. And Middlestat is going to fire this, and it goes posting in. And that's what we needed so badly. It's from a little bit of distance. Johansson probably should have gotten a piece of this, but this was a very precise shot. And it's 3-1. And you go, okay, there's a little bit of life. We're in this. They get it right back, which was massive. Just a couple of minutes later, 3:37 in, McAvoy and Jeannot lose a puck battle on a chip and chase below the goal line. Puck gets worked around the boards and fired on net. McAvoy and Lohrei are scrambling to get back. Rather than just grabbing someone and covering them, they're just in no man's land, trying to get inside of some sort of lane, but it's no structure. What this results in is, I believe it's Bjorkstrand is able to grab the rebound off the initial shot from the right point. He's just going to easily pass this to Holmberg, who no one picks up because they're just sliding all over the place rather than thinking about their structure, who has a wide open net after Korpisalo had made the initial save. It's now 4-1, so you're back to a 3-goal deficit. Okay, the wheels are going to come off now, right? The wheels are absolutely going to come off. This team is not going to be able to handle this kind of pressure, and they're not going to have enough confidence to start scoring again. And then 2 minutes later, the Bruins, they just gave up a 3-on-1. That the only reason isn't in the back of the net is because Hagel got himself into too sharp of an angle and shot it off the side of the net, even though he had a wide open net with Korpisalo on his belly. Harris is going to make a play. He's going to collect the rebound, and he's going to push this puck up the left wall to Pasta, who's on the left point. And Pasta is going to very quickly be like, you take this, young buck, you do your thing. And he pushes it out along the blue line. Harris sprints up and launches themselves on a 2-on-1 because the defenseman in front of Pasta wanted to make sure he was prepared for Pasta to carry. It was a great heads-up play by Pasternak. Harris is going to go to the left side. The other defenseman on the 2-on-1 decides, hey, I've got a D-man carrying the puck. Let me cover the forward and make sure this pass can't get through. Johansson's going to have to make a save. And low blocker, Harris, with his first as a Bruin. And it's 4-2. And you go, okay, hold on. There's a lot of time left in this game. And it's a 2-goal deficit. This team hasn't quit at all. 5:41 in. Holmberg for holding. We're going to the power play. Now it's a real opportunity. Unfortunately, we don't do anything with it. And it's might be the first power play of the season where I went, ooh, that is a bad power play. That is not good. 9:26 left. Asamont and Lilleberg will go for holding and interference. We're going to go 4v4 for 2 minutes. And then about a minute later, during the 4v4, Zacha wins the faceoff in the left circle of the O-zone. Geeky takes 2 strides, collects, and rips this top glove corner. Sniper Rooney and cheeks! I've been waiting to use that one. This is a great shot from a guy who's been struggling to finish the first couple of games of the season. Huge goal. And it is a 1-goal game. It's a 1-goal game with about 28 minutes left. Team didn't quit. And the team didn't stop using physicality. Didn't stop pushing on the forecheck. Didn't stop any of their systems or their process or anything. They struggled a lot with defensive coverage in this game. Stuff that's going to have to get cleaned up. But this team didn't stop playing the way they're supposed to. Now, Sturm, I'm sure, and Cooper are behind the net, behind the benches being like, this is not our system, guys. We are not run and gun. And there was a lot of run and gun because there was a lot of sloppy hockey. But they were still physical. They were still trying to communicate. They were still trying to lock down their assignments. I was kind of blown away that they were back in this game. I was kind of blown away. 6 minutes left. Corpy handles a sharp angle shot. The rebound goes into the slot for Holmberg, and Korpisalo has to make a huge glove save. They counted this as the save of the game. I don't think it should have been. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he does square up to it, makes the glove save to keep it at 1. And then, just a few seconds later, Holmberg's going to go for tripping. We're going to go back to the power play. Unfortunately, weren't able to do anything with it. Again, really sloppy. But there were a couple of chances again. And the third period starts, and it's a 1-goal game. The Bruins are in this, and they push. They really do. They push the whole time. Are they the better team? No, I think it was kind of clear which team could generate the better chances, and that was the Lightning. But the Bruins were in it, and they weren't getting pushed out of it. 6:05 in. Arvidsson is tripped by Gonsalves. We're going to the power play again. No dice. We got plenty of power play chances, just couldn't finish on any of them. 9:57 left. Jeannot is in a foot race for a cleared puck and loses his footing. This pissed me off more than anything this game. On his way down, he clearly grabs Mosier and pulls him to the ice. There is literally no reason. I mean, we are 10 minutes left of a game where you're down a goal and you're sprinting to the offensive zone. It's not like you were pulling down a guy who was on a breakaway. Like, even if you didn't get caught for this, how does this really help you at all? He pulls him to the ice, arm goes up, we're going to have to kill a penalty, which we do. And Zadorov played a huge role in that. I want to point that out. Great job by Zadorov. Zadorov wasn't amazing in this game. Again, most of our defense wasn't, but Zadorov, as the game continued, was getting more and more impactful. 6:46 left. Lohrei overhandles the puck, one of many instances in this game. And it results in Pasternak trying to save the play, but turning it over. The following transition sees Holmberg get behind the defense for a breakaway, and again, it gets real scary, but he ends up missing wide. Things get a little crazy in the last couple of minutes. We pull Korpisalo, couple minutes left. Pasternak has to make a save, even though that play was super offsides, I'm pretty sure. But Pasternak does have to come up with a big save at the net front. I think that should have been the save of the game. Kind of duh. Really surprised I didn't go with it. 8 seconds left. We are going to have a 5-on-3 because we have Corpy pulled. We were on a 4v4, which was a 5-on-4 because we had Corpy pulled. But there were a couple of penalties in there. We're not able to do anything with it. But the game notes are what really matters here in this game for me. I needed this. I needed to know that this team wasn't just going to fold. They didn't back down. They never stopped skating. They never stopped the physicality, which I think might be the biggest thing. It never turned into cheap shots, right? It never just became like, all right, well, we'll fuck you up. No, it was, well, okay, we're going to keep fucking you up with the purpose of winning this hockey game. It's a world difference from last year. Did they get a little lucky in moments? Could this have been a 6-2 finish, a 6-1 finish? Yeah, I think it could have been. But also, Korpisalo was really good in this game in a lot of moments. 3 of these goals, what is he supposed to do, right? I mean, we talked about this. I gave excuses. Swayman last year plenty of times. I gave excuses for Corpy plenty of times last year. This was one of those games where 3 out of the 4 goals, you're not looking at your goaltender. You're looking at the defense in front of him being like, you gonna give him some help? You gonna stop turning the puck over in front of him, huh? This team brought it. They made a ton of mistakes. They didn't deserve to win. But they stuck with it the whole 60 minutes. And it's performances like these, where things go wrong, that Sturm's motivation tactics and his system are really going to be challenged. Because it's about how long can you keep these guys engaged if they think things start slipping away. Because that's going to win you a lot of hockey games, is frankly just not giving up. It's hard to win in this league. They said at the end of the game, Cooper came into this game being like, hey, it's hard to win a game when you spot the other team 3 goals, which I mean, the Lightning had done previously in the season. And basically what the Bruins did. They went down by 3 twice. And they clawed back to get within 1. They didn't win, but I mean, that's just a different story from last year. So I needed this because this somehow gives me more confidence that this team will remain competitive even when playing a better opponent. And I mean, through this season, again, I'm not willing to just jump in the pool and be like, we are a great team that deserves to be in the conversation with with the Golden Knights and the Panthers and the whatever. No, but we are a team that at least I think other teams will go, it's not really a night off, and this is going to hurt the whole time. Like, we should beat this team. This is going to suck, though. That's what I'm looking for. Korpisalo getting the start instead of Swayman. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I get it from the, hey, we're trying to do an even split and keep guys healthier and happier and more productive. I don't think Swayman has an easier job winning this game. Swayman still has to make some huge saves that Korpisalo made and still has to deal with some defensive breakdowns that were going to be really difficult to stop. I think he probably gets the one that goes far side on Korpisalo because he probably attacks it far more aggressively. The one that was Sorelli's second that went far post and in. But other than that, I think either goaltender, you're going to have a hard time winning this game with the way the defense played in front of them through moments. And it does point out to a bigger picture, this team is really going to struggle whenever there are mistakes, because this is a roster that cannot afford a ton of these mistakes. You just can't, because if the team capitalizes on a couple of them, it becomes a huge uphill battle. Unlike if you're like at a Colorado Avalanche, where you have a ton of offensive firepower, you never really feel like you're fully out of it. Past Pastrnak, it is really hard to stare at this team and go, oh yeah, we can catch up after any deficit, you know? It just tells you more about the team. The third line's kind of pissing me off. I love the idea of the third line, and I love certain shifts. Fraser Minton is an excellent penalty killer, and I love his defensive presence, and it leads to a lot of transition opportunities because he forces turnovers high in the defensive zone, which is really exciting. I think Asamont has been very quiet, but very effective in his role. Jeannot is either involved in a way where I get very excited, or he's doing something where I have no fucking clue what his plan is. So he's been kind of bugging me, but this was a game they were largely outclassed, outplayed, that third line. We're also going to have performances where I think they'll win us games because they have that kind of volatility to them. So just one of the lines to point out of like, that one might get broken up and they might try something new in a couple of games depending, but it's really hard to predict how the staff feels about that line, I think. I thought Brick's statement at the very end of the game, which was, I don't think catch-up hockey is winning hockey for the Bruins club, for this Bruins club. That's kind of the point I've been trying to make is you just can't spot a couple of goals to another team, and with the forward construction of this team and the way that Stern wants to play, expect to win too many of those games. The mistakes are going to kill you. Lastly, Mr. Anti-Socialite on Twitter asked a question that I actually thought I would put in here. Should Lohrei sit instead of Harris when Hampus returns? I think that's a damn good question. I don't want Lohrei to sit because I still believe Lohrei has a ceiling that makes him a very worthwhile player to have on the Bruins. And I don't like the idea of him sitting in the press box, particularly this season where my expectations are so low. But if you keep winning games and Harris keeps looking the way he has, I don't know, there's a real conversation for it. Harris has been very particular with their actions. When they decide to join offensively, when they work to make a play defensively, they attack in a very specific way when they feel most confident about it. That's obvious because he's just quietly very effective in both his defense and his offense. Neither have been perfect, but damn impressive for what we were expecting to get from him. I'm very happy with Harris's performance, and if it continues, there does have to be a conversation of, look, I don't think Lohrei has been terrible to start the season, but defensively he certainly had his miscues, and this was not a good game for him. You have to ask yourself some hard questions. Does Harris give you a better chance to win? If this team is 5-2 when Hampus is ready to return, I'm just throwing a number out there. Now, of course, we'd have to win some very difficult games ahead of us to be that way. You have to make the decision of what is the best way to keep winning. There are a group of you that I'm sure just went, what does the record have to do with it? You should absolutely always go with the team that gives you the best chance of winning. I agree. But I do think if you're not being blown away by Harris, you're like, Lohrei is a guy that we need to continue to build his game. There's a discussion to be had there. Harris has looked better than Lohrei. I think that's true. Has it been simpler? Yes. Does he have the same kind of offensive upside? Absolutely not. He's been more impressive than Lorre. I'll be interested in your takes on that. So, Mr. Antisocialite, I don't have a great answer, but I do think your question's a damn good one. Go Bees. Go Bees! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video and joining me as we experience this crazy Bruins season together. The names popping up on your screen now are from the top line tier and the all-star tier of the YouTube membership program for this YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you who help support the channel so that we can do more fun things, and I am always open to more ideas of how I can help give back to those who support the channel. At the end of the day, this channel is always going to be about the community, and I want to continue to grow that way, so please always feel free to reach out with new ideas and fun ways we can expand on this, or if you just need someone to talk to, I'm always here for you guys. Thank you all for your support, and as always, go Bees!